plan strategically. I can get it right. I'm gonna go where the winners go. 'Cause sailing ain't an option, no, it ain't in my blood.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mondays Beyond the Mic. This is a place where we look at relationships and life to provide a better understanding for both men and women so we can learn and grow together. What do we want to say? Thank you to our regular viewers and welcome to our new viewers. We ask that you like that, share, subscribe, and give us a super chat, as that one gesture means much to Mondays Beyond the Mic and the Bravo with Sheila Network. And yes, we like those likes. So throughout the show, we will ask that you press that like button because it pushes the show further in these YouTube streets. So we have a disclaimer. This show is for educational educational purposes only, and we share from our personal experiences. Listen, tongue tied. House rules. Respect, respect, respect. Like Aretha said, RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. So, with that being said, if disrespect is displayed on the platform or in the chat, individuals will be removed. And now I'm going to stop talking so Lady Dawn B can say something. Welcome, Lady Dawn B. How art thou?
Happy Monday, of course, as usual. It's one day closer to Friday, so I'm grateful. We got the hard day out of the week. So I'm good. How about you?
I'm great. And I had a fantastic weekend. I had the opportunity to spend a wonderful and amazing weekend with the delegates of SSEU Local 371 in the Catskills. And guess what?
What's that?
I won the sneaker ball contest.
Say
So
what?
listen, we was out in these streets. So I am definitely excited. And then I know we also were welcoming in the month of October, and we're gonna highlight for this month some of the awarenesses. And tonight we will focus on breast cancer awareness. We are really excited. And let's just, before we dive into our topic, let's see who is talking to us in the chat.
Well, okay. Of course, as usual,
Go ahead.
is the greatest moderator to ever do it in these here YouTube streets, the lady in Kenya. We love her so much and so glad she is with us. We will scratch somebody's ankles for her. Yes, we will.
Not their
You know,
ankles.
these are memories. It's not visible, but they'll remember.
So Tara Jones said, Hi, Tara. Thank you for joining us. Miss T said, good evening, ladies. This Hey Tricelle. Thank you for joining. Alonzo Hall says, salute.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining. Gail, hey sis, one of the Lockley sisters. She said, good evening, ladies.
Hey, Gail.
And Tiffany says, happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday, Tiff. So, our topic tonight, as we state, we're going to talk about breast cancer awareness. The topic is letters to my lump. So, we have some amazing guests tonight, and Lady Dawn B is going to take on reading their bios, and then we're going to go from there.
Well, first up, we have our Dr. Sandy Hampton. She is an associate professor at Chamberlain University School of Nursing, where she is committed to educating and mentoring future healthcare leaders. She is married and a proud mother of a 24-year-old daughter. Sandra was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015 and has been cancer free for 9 years. Amen. Dr. Hampton's personal journey has deepened her dedication to breast cancer awareness and advocacy. Her story is a testament to resilience, hope, and the power of early detection and support. She is honored to participate in this event and stand alongside others in the fight against breast cancer. So let us welcome Dr. Sandy to the Mondays Beyond the Mic journey. Welcome in.
Welcome.
Welcome in. welcome in.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
I was muted. I'm good. How are you? How's everyone? I'm
Doing
happy to
well.
be here. Thank you for inviting me.
We're happy to have you.
All right. And next, we are special today. We got two. We have Dr. Rhonda A. Williams. She is a 14-year survivor, a wife, mother, grandmother, and a United States Air Force retired military veteran. Well, come on with it. She is the CEO and founder of Thriving and Surviving Breast Cancer Support Group, Inc., which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has been serving the community for 13 years. Through her journey, she stood firmly on God's word and quoted her favorite scripture every day, Psalm 118 and 17. Oh, come on now, feel preachy. I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. Yes, ma'am. Thriving and Surviving Breast Cancer Support Group, GPR Inc., was birthed to ensure that no one has to embark on a cancer journey alone. Her goal is to encourage and motivate those affected while offering physical, emotional, and financial support. She has over 800 members worldwide who are dedicated to helping and supporting each other. She created a private and public Facebook page that anyone can join and ask questions 24/7. She hosts interactive supportive group brunches quarterly at Eagles Landing Country Club in Stockbridge, Georgia, where different guest speakers are invited to provide education to help navigate each person's journey. She is a powerhouse community leader who leads from the front boldly, faithfully, and with unwavering compassion. Her influence in the breast cancer community has earned her numerous accolades, including honors from the Atlanta Falcons, okay, the Atlanta Braves, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the City of Stockbridge Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Inc. 2 times, and the Eastern Stars Organization. With God, a strong support system, she declares with conviction, we got this. So, welcome in, Dr. Rhonda.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you
Welcome.
so much. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
All right. So let's get started. Let's dive in.
Oh, sorry, y'all. All right. So, the first question we want to ask tonight and getting into this conversation, and this is for both of you. We'll start with Dr. Sandy and then Dr. Rhonda, if you would answer after. Um, the first question is, how did your diagnosis change the way you see yourself physically, emotionally, and or spiritually?
Okay, I'll start with the emotional piece. So for me, emotionally, I feel like I have a better outlook on life. I appreciate the little things. I appreciate family. I don't take things for granted like I used to. And all of this, of course, is in hindsight. Spiritually, I feel like I have, God will get our attention the way He can get it, and so I feel like spiritually, I'm a little more closer to God, if you will, because prior to that, we go to church. We kind of do the routine thing that we do growing up, go to church, Sunday school, but I think the true relationship starts when something moves us in our life and we are tested. So spiritually, I definitely feel like I have become closer to Him in that respect. Physically, the funny thing about the physical part is that I didn't, I always exercise, ate right, things like that. So that kind of was doesn't really fit the mold, if you will. So I really didn't feel too much differently, on the physical piece. But what I can say is that because I thought relatively healthy, like no pre-existing problems, that was helpful for them to just treat the cancer and not have to worry about like blood pressure, diabetes, and other things that might have been had to take into consideration based on the type of treatment I may have been given because of other issues that I would be having or would have had health wise. So that's it.
That's good stuff. All right, Dr. Rhonda, how did your diagnosis change the way you see yourself physically, emotionally, and and or spiritually, or did it change those things?
I would say for me, my number one thing that I know changed was my spirituality. Because when you're going through a journey and you're feeling all alone, you have to have a higher source to pull from, because your family doesn't really, they don't really know how to handle it, because everybody's scared, you're scared, they're scared. And so I had to get on bending knees and ask God to show me, guide me, and to help me figure out, why did this have to happen to me? I was like, I was 12 years old when I became a Christian, and I thought I did everything right. So for me, I felt like initially it was a punishment, but after going through everything, I realized that it was so that I could go through this to be able to help other people. And so I would say spiritually, it grew me, it stretched me, and I truly have a one on one relationship with God, seriously now. And I would say emotionally, I'm more compassionate, because now I understand what these ladies are going through, and men. I understand because I've sat in that chair, I've had the chemo, I've had a double mastectomy, I've had the surgeries. So every step of it, I'm able to relate to people. So emotionally, I'm more connected. When before, I was in the military, I retired, I had my life laid out, I had my goals set. I was I didn't think I was selfish, but I really didn't think outside of my box. But I think this, having to go through this and now having to help other people and feel what they feel, I can understand. I'm more compassionate. And I would say, so that spiritually, emotionally, and physically, I would say to have had both my breasts removed, I was self conscious at first because they're not as big as they used to be. And then they don't have any feeling in them. So just trying to adjust to this new normal and understanding that although they don't have any feeling in them, I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? And so it
Yeah.
just taught me to put things in a different perspective and say the things that I thought were so important, God has said, okay, I'm going to allow you to go through this. I'm going to bring you through it. You're going to be healed. It's going to be some differences, but I'm actually way more grateful than I was before this happened. So I'm good now. I've adjusted to it. And because I'm alive, and I was stage 3 14 years ago, and my doctor
Wow.
told me he couldn't give me a prognosis. But I said, nope. I said, I will not receive that. I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to do this chemo. I'm going to have both of these breasts removed. I'm going to do whatever it takes, do my part. I had to improve my nutrition, had to start eating right. And that has a lot to do with it. But yes, I'm good in all those areas now. Overall, it made me better.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. I think this
Mhm.
is a definitely a needed conversation to have and to highlight um, what people are going through. So
Yeah.
I have a question, and I'm going to reverse the order. So Dr. Rhonda to
Hmm.
answer, and then Dr. Sandy. Was
Okay.
there a specific moment during your journey that felt like your turning point? Like that moment you said, right here.
I would say I had two turning points.
Okay.
My first turning point was during my first chemo treatment. I remember going to chemo, and I was, for one, I felt like I was the youngest person in there, and I really couldn't understand that. And so I told God, I said, Lord, if you're going to bring me through this, give me some signs of hope. And my turning point was I saw one of the young ladies going to the restroom with her IV pole. And now I knew I had to have 6 aggressive rounds of chemo. I knew that in my head, but when she spoke to me, the first thing I asked her was, how many treatments do you have? I said, what treatment number are you on? And she said, oh, I'm on my fifth treatment. And for me, that was my first turning point, because in my mind, I thought by the time I got to my sixth treatment that I would be nearly dead. Because I didn't know anybody who had gone through cancer. And the ones that I knew went through it, they didn't survive. So in my head, it was all negative. And so God gave me that piece of hope. When she told me she was on her fifth treatment and she was up walking to the restroom with that IV pole, I said, "What? Oh my God. So I can do this." Because I only have six, so I'll do one more than her. And if she can still be in good spirits, so can I.
Okay.
And I think that's when I said I can do this. I'm gonna fight. I'm determined. I can still walk. I'll be able to still walk. Because in my head I thought I was gonna be in a wheelchair. I mean, you just have when you're in the military, you're in this perfect little bubble where everybody's healthy. Everybody's you really don't really see sickness for what it is so much because everybody has to be in a certain shape, So
Mhm.
getting out and having to go through this, God knew that I needed to see a face of hope. And Jennifer was my first face of hope. And from that point, I was good. And then my second turning point was after my once I went bald, I would always keep my wig on trying to hide my bald head from my daughter. She was 9 years old at the time. And I remember she walked in the bathroom and I had my wig off. And I was like, "No, you can't see me like this. No." I thought it would be too much for her to handle. Instead, she reached up and held my chin and said, "Mom, it's okay." She said, "You're beautiful just the way you are."
Cool.
Oh,
And that breathed extra life into me. With those two things, those both turned me around, and I turned instantly from being a victim to being victorious.
I love it. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you
you're
for sharing.
welcome. Thank
Dr.
you.
Sandy.
So, a little similar, and a little opposite at the same time. So, I, I'm a like I'm an overthinker all the time. So and in my head a planner of things are gonna go this way, that way, that way. And of course when this showed up, it was like, oh my God, like what how can this possibly happen? So I know in my mind I always hear about, the cancer metastasizing and moving to different places and it makes it harder to treat because there's other places. I was also a stage 3. um, I had a bilateral mastectomy, and they were also in my lymph nodes, in my axillary lymph nodes on the same side. So it did start to metastasize or move, but just to the lymph nodes. So the turning point for me, because like Dr. Rhonda said, you go through this like pity party, like why me? Oh my God, what did I do? Almost like
Mhm.
it's a punishment. But
Right.
then it flips to why not me, right? Why not?
Mhm.
Like, why not me? Why not? Who am I? You know what I mean? That I can't also go
Mhm.
through cancer. So the turning point for me was when the doctors told me that it just metastasized to those lymph nodes and nowhere else in the body. So in my mind, I was like, okay, now this is just something I got to do and just go through. And
Mhm.
so it really changed my thought that way to not falling into a state of depression or a pity party for myself,
Mhm.
because I always felt that you have to stay positive in the
Yeah.
mind, and because whatever the mind does, the body will follow. So I
Mhm.
always had to stay positive. I was opposite with the bald head though, because I was like, I look kind of cute with this bald head. So like
And
wigs,
she did. And she did.
Yeah.
I felt
Okay.
like wigs made me look like old. So I just, but the thing about the bald head, I remember when I was thinking, because my hair started shedding. So my thought was, okay, I'll just go to the hair salon and have her cut it down. So when it goes bald, it won't be so devastating. Well, lo and behold, it was like the water was like a catalyst. And
Right.
once she washed it, it literally just wiped off my
Wiped
head.
off your head. Right.
Yes. So I'm in the middle of the salon, like trying to fight back the tears. I was so embarrassed. And everybody, it wasn't a dry in the place. It was like, oh my God, you look good. That's oh my the bald head. So I embraced the bald head.
Mhm.
And I also and that was kind of a turning point too, because then I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure there's women who are going through this who are maybe ashamed to wear the bald head and walk in public that way. So I started like just making posts on Facebook with my bald head and just showing everyone, right, to give someone confidence to know, it's okay. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember being in the mall and a man's like, I'm sure if you're sick or you just did this, but you look great with your bald head. So I always tried to be like a encouragement to for other people, kind of like a light, not knowing that's really what I was doing. I really was just sharing my story as kind of more of a therapy for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of helped. A little different for my daughter. With my daughter, I remember telling her about the cancer, and she was in middle school at the time, I believe. And I just needed to be upfront with her. I knew I couldn't try to hide it and all this other stuff. And I remember looking at my husband and was like, "Is she serious?" Like I was making a joke. I said I wouldn't joke about this. So that was another thing that a motivating or a turning point, because I'm like, I can't fall into any kind of depressive state and
Mm-hmm.
a daughter, a young daughter. I don't want her. I literally told her, I'm gonna be fine. It's something I just have to go through. Um, this is not an excuse for you to, not do well in school or, just start having problems in class and things like that. So she also became kind of like a motivating factor just to kind of stay positive for myself as well, because I didn't want her to go into any kind of depressive state to think that I was going to not be here any longer. And I literally sat on the edge of my bed and I'm like, listen, God. And that's how I was talking to him, as if I could see him right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to die. And this is not what we're doing. So
That's right.
keep it moving. This is what we're going to do. And that's pretty much a few turning points, but that's how it was for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We have some comments in the chat. I want to make sure we get them. I see Gail. Um, Angela, my sister in love, she said, "Good evening, ladies." Katrina said, "Good evening, ladies."
Good evening.
Stephanie said, "Hey, Doc Sam." So
Hey,
that's
Steph.
directly Dr. Sandy. Sharon, the other half of the Lockley sisters, she said, "Hello, hello, ladies and guests." Kathy said, "Good evening, everyone." Gail said, to your comment, she said, "We try to protect our kids from certain things that may hurt them, but sometimes we don't realize they are stronger than you
That's
think
right.
they
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
are." Lee said, "Hello, everyone." Hey, Lee. Dr. Shana says, "It takes incredible courage to bear your truth, to turn your pain into power, and to remind others that healing begins when we choose to speak. Thank you for sharing your story and your strength." Absolutely, totally agree.
Wow. Wow.
Tara said, "Love this. Thanks for sharing."
Mhm.
And bravo, with Sheila said, "Hit the like button." So we got some folks watching. We need you to smash it. It's free 99. We thank you in advance. Okay. All right. So, Lady Dawn, you want to ask the next question there?
Sure, why not? And yes, I commend you ladies both for sharing your stories, your life. I can totally relate. If I sidebar for 2 seconds, I went through a bout with cancer myself, not breast, but a different kind. So I can totally relate to the spaces that you go
Mhm.
through and what that journey is like, the ups and downs. And every time I hear someone share their story, it just continues
Mhm.
to encourage me all the more to remember that if you can make it through this, like you can really, everything else is small. It really puts everything
Yes.
else in perspective. You know, it's like
Mhm.
you ain't worried about the bill at that point. Like I beat
That's
cancer,
right.
I could take care of the bill, ain't nothing.
Right.
It's just that amazing encouragement. I hope that people speak up more about it. So segueing into the question is, what kind of support um, made the biggest difference for you emotionally or practically?
Um, who's gone
You
first?
got Dr.
So, Dr.
Sandy.
Sandy.
Oh, okay. So, the support system you said was the question. I'm sorry.
It was
Okay.
what kind of support made the biggest difference for you, either emotionally or practically?
Oh, so family, of course. Like my husband, like gold stars, like he was there, every step of the way. And and I make light of it, but that's not everyone's story. Like sometimes spouses cannot deal with what you have to go through when you're dealing with
Mhm.
life-changing events. So he definitely was a staple in my whole process, as well as my mom. Like for there, my mom's a retired nurse, but she was there every step of the way. And I remember when I found out, I'm such a baby. When I found out about it, I was at work and I left work and I went straight to my mother's house, like just went right there. And I'm like hysterically crying. And she looks up at me and was like, okay, we're not doing this. Like I wanted her to be right there with me, snotting and everything. No, we're not doing this. This is something we have to go through and we're going to get through it. And in the meantime, my father was with me. He was on my page with the crying, but my mother, like a rock, like I'm looking at her like, okay. And all right, okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So, just family, like my cousins, like just everyone did what they can do the best they knew how to do it, between just people bringing meals, people sending. I almost say almost every day or every other day I was getting letters or flowers or edible arrangements from college people I knew from college, like that I had no clue even knew. And so that emotional support was just really needed. Just when you're at your lowest point and you get someone to
Mhm.
stop by or somebody to send flowers, that definitely was something that I would always treasure. I have a group of friends that threw me a little party one time, my bestie, and it was just I just can't say enough about my family and friends as it relates to that support system.
Your village sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Dr. Rhonda, I'm sure you have an amazing village too. So share with us what kind of support that made the biggest difference for you, either emotionally or practically.
Well, for me, just like she said, family.
Hmm.
Family was number one.
Hmm.
Initially, my family, they took it really hard because I'm supposed to be so strong.
Yeah.
And so so it was hard for me to tell them. I didn't even tell them for a few weeks because I had to get myself together first before I could share it. And once I did share it, my mom, she owned a beauty salon for 40 years. She packed up and moved up here with me
Mm.
and my family.
Wow.
She moved up here. She said, I am here as long as you're going through this. And she ended up staying an additional 10 years after that. But she packed up, moved here. My husband, my three kids. When I say they rallied around me, they were there for me. And while I was going through it, I did join another support group that was through my doctor's office. And I decided to start my own group at my church at the time. And I really just wanted somebody who could relate, because a lot of times your family, when they don't know, it's just some conversations I just didn't want to have with them. So that's when I decided to build my own village and started my support group. And the ladies that came in, I told them, I said, listen here, we're not doing any pity parties. You're not walking in here looking like you've been defeated. I said, when you walk in here, you need to look like you are thriving. You need to walk in your healing as though it is. And so that helped me out a lot. I supported them, but they don't know how much they supported me through this. So having someone to hold your hand that understands what you're going through, that was the biggest part, in addition to my family, but that was major in having other ladies to talk to. Did you feel this? What vitamins are you taking? Well, my doctor told me not to take any vitamins. Well, go to your doctor and tell them I would like to take these vitamins. That's what I did learn about that process. A lot of times the doctors won't tell you what to take, but if you go to them and say, I'd like to take a multivitamin, then most of the times they'll agree with it. But if you go and say, what vitamins can I take? Most of them say, I can't advise you on that because they don't want to tell you something that might interfere with the chemo. So my biggest thing is trying to help these ladies learn to advocate for themselves, to be your own advocate, to ask all the questions, and to also, talk amongst each other. So now, like even now in my support group, ladies that are starting radiation, we'll come on there and say, what kind of creams did you use? And everybody come in with, you have like 10 different choices, and then you see some people say more of the one thing, and you're like, okay, well, I'll try that. What do you do for neuropathy? Instead of taking the gabapentin, some of them say, hey, I do B6. So we just bounce off of each other. So to me, I just feel like it's so important to be a part of a support group. I know many people are hesitant. We have some people on our page that sometimes they don't talk in the group. They just listen to the conversation. And every now and then somebody come and say something. I'm like, oh, hi, you're still here. But sometimes they just want to hear the conversations, but they're listening. And it's good to be able to compare notes with that. So I would say um, initially family, but my biggest part was having a support group of women and a few men that could relate to exactly what I was going through.
I thank you for that, and I wanted to throw this out there because you said you have this support group, and you have
Hmm.
men and women, and maybe Dr. Sandy, you can speak to this as well. But can we just shed a little bit of light on that men as well can have
Hmm.
breast cancer? Like, have you encountered some people? And if so, what do you think that's like? I know you don't
Excuse me.
know specifically, but what do you think that's like for men, or what have you heard from men who have or have had breast cancer?
I
Oh,
personally, I personally don't know any men that have it, but I do know physiologically it's possible because, as we know, because they have breast tissue as well. Like we were mentioning earlier before we started the podcast, that I feel like it's more of an embarrassment for men because it's. I think it has been dubbed as a woman cancer, a women's cancer, like breast cancer,
hmm,
right? We always associate that with women, but it would be nice if there can be more groups of people, men talking about their experiences with the breast cancer because it is definitely real, and I feel like men suffer in silence. Some women do as well because some people feel like it's taboo and they can't speak about it, but I feel like
hmm,
men suffer more about it in silence because every time you turn on television, it's all focused on women, right? No,
right.
don't highlight the men in breast cancer. So maybe that'll be something that society will start doing so that men will be more comfortable about talking about it.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda.
We do have one guy who is active in our group, and we have other guys that have joined the group, but they don't talk
Okay.
on the page. So, but this guy, he's very vocal about it. He does not mind talking about it. He was just saying how it was devastating to find it. I think he said he dropped a tool or something, or he hit something. It was an injury, and through that injury, that's when they discovered it. And so he was just saying, that men don't talk about it, but he said he knew in order to get through it, he needed to have conversations. So he said, I thank you guys. He always thanks us for being there, to being able to just support him through what he was going through. He went through chemo. I'm not sure if he did radiation or not, but he's very open and honest about what's going on with him. And he wears our t-shirts, Thriving and Surviving Breast Cancer Support Group. And I saw him the other day with the pink and blue t-shirt on, standing up for male breast cancer. So like I said, we have several men in the group, but none of them say anything. But I say, hey, as long as they're being encouraged, eventually maybe I always tell them they can always inbox me separately. But until they feel comfortable, it's nothing you can do, because some women haven't even told their families. So
Right.
they come on there and something, and you're able to ask questions anonymously.
Oh, that's
So,
Can I
mhm.
ask a question? Do they
Yes.
ever, the men that are in your group, do they ever speak to why they feel embarrassed about talking about it?
No, because the
No.
one that does talk,
Mm-hmm.
he
He's
he
not. Okay.
he's not one of those. He's like,
Okay.
listen, I did not want to go through this by myself,
Right.
so, and he gives his testimony, hoping that other guys will open up, but I don't know. You know how men, they're groomed to not
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
pain, and and might view it as, being soft.
Right.
And but I said until then they can continue listening to our conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully they're getting something from the one guy that is willing to speak out, so.
This is great. I want to get
Mhm.
to the comments. Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome.
Landon said support systems is the truth. Absolutely.
Yes.
And Lee, which is a good point, she said Richard Roundtree was a great voice and advocate for men who have battled
Mhm.
breast cancer. He brought awareness to this being an all gender cancer. Yes.
Yes, it sure did. Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anae, she said, could you please hit the like button? Hit that like button. Have a moment. Thank you. We appreciate it.
And it's the thumbs up. So that just so everyone knows, that is the like button. The thumbs up button is what you hit.
All right. So I'm going to ask this question. If your lumps could have talked back, what do you think they would have said to you?
I think for me, mine would have said, I'm sorry. Look,
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think mine was so deeply embedded under the bottom of my breast, because I found lumps under my arm. So it had spread to my lymph nodes. And I was trying to figure out where the lumps came from, and found out that it was associated with breast cancer. And that's when I laid down and felt deep up under the bottom of my breast. So I think my lumps would say, do a thorough feeling of your breast instead of just over the top, and, feel under the bottom, press, move around, whatever you need to do. Just check me better.
Hmm.
I think that's what they would say. Do a
Okay.
more thorough check.
All
Hmm.
right. Thank you. Dr.
Hmm.
Sandy.
So my lump would say, "Shame on you," and it would
Okay.
say that because my first mammogram was when I felt my own lump. So
Hmm.
I found my lump. I was, and this is something odd that I never did. So I always feel like that was God intervention there. I removed my bra and then I took my shirt off, and so it caused me to have my arms fully extended in the mirror, and I literally saw the lump on the
Hmm.
left side
Hmm.
and felt it, and it was like where the heck this come from, right? and
Hmm.
and and like I said, shame on me, my lump would say, because I had medical insurance. Like my husband has great medical insurance. I would get the prescriptions to go. I would try to make an appointment for a mammogram, but I could never, it never worked with my schedule. Oh, I'll call back. Never call back, year after year after year.
Hmm.
So my lump would say, shame on you for
Hmm.
not getting a mammogram. And because there was no rhyme or reason why I should not have gotten one. So that's what my lump would say to me.
Wow.
Hmm.
My
That's
lump would
that's
say
great. So that, to
to
me,
me.
that just kind of leads into saying, let's get checked, even if
Yes.
you feel like
Yes.
we're fine.
Yes. Yep. I felt like
Yes.
it was fine, like nothing, like to the point where the doctor was like, you wasn't having any pain, you was, because it was so big and hard. Nothing.
Mhm.
Literally, I mean, I felt like in hindsight, the one side was breast was a little heavier, but no one's perfect, as far as the symmetry. So I'm like, okay, it's okay. Um, but yeah, that it was no reason why I did not get a mammogram. So definitely the lump would say, shame on you, because I didn't have to be here, or need, you're not
Hmm.
this big, and or maybe not, it wouldn't have taken me down that, the bilateral mastectomy, the radiation, 8 rounds of chemo, like all of that might
Hmm.
not have been my story. But things happen for a reason, so it's never,
That's
no
right.
regrets, absolutely no
Right.
regrets.
That's
but
right.
definitely my lump would say that.
Okay. All right. Thank
Mhm.
you. Let's see what they're saying in the chat. So Lee said also it's important to know your genetic and your family history. My older sister was diagnosed in 1998 and lost her fight in 2001 at the age of 44. Ironically, she had the first benign lump at 18. Sorry for your
Mhm.
loss, Lee. Anae said at Tara Jones sounds
Oh,
like you may be on your cell phone because Tara says she cannot find the like button. Just click the X below. Oh, okay. I'm not supposed to read that. Sorry. She Lee said she was told that she had a high risk for come on, help me out here.
malignancy.
Okay,
Malignancy.
thank
Malignancy.
you.
Mhm.
Due to her diagnosis, and I've been getting mammograms and ultrasounds ever since I was 30. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
didn't have it. I got tested for that BRCA gene. I didn't have the BRCA gene. I there's no immediate family history of breast cancer, so it was like an anomaly. Like it just out of nowhere. And the crazy thing was, my first cousin the following year got diagnosed with breast cancer
Wow.
on my mom's side. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For me, I was BRCA negative, but after I was diagnosed, I found out that three of my first cousins had it, and they just never shared it.
Wow.
So that is one thing that I think we all need to do better is
Mhm.
have family conversations
Mhm.
and stop keeping it a secret.
Right.
Mm,
You know, although I was BRCA negative, I still, had I known that I had a family history of it, I would have been more conscious of it.
Mhm.
So I just think important conversations need to be had. If it's anybody who's had any type of cancer in your families, we need to start having those conversations.
mm. I
Hmm.
definitely agree. I mean, yeah. Wow. And again, this is just really powerful to just say to your point how many times we talk about everything else in the family,
That's right. Everything.
but the thing that we really need to be having conversations. We can tell you who's
Exactly.
having
Right.
a baby. We can tell you their marriage is not working out or whatever.
That's
Mhm.
But
right.
we're not, am I lying? No.
No, you
But
are not
these are the
lying.
things that we need to discuss so that we can understand what's
Right.
happening in our family to know family history because to both of your points, you had a first cousin
Mhm.
to
Yes.
go through the same thing. And what if you weren't vocal because you said yours was before your cousin, Dr.
Yes.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And if she didn't know, then she had someone she could come to and have that conversation
Yeah,
with.
she used all my doctors, everything might be like the same thing. And that's the thing. I don't understand. I mean, I guess because I'm not like for me, if I need help, I'm asking, I'm opening my mouth, I'm ringing
Right.
bells. I need help. That's like for anything. But
Hmm.
I really would like to understand where like where people feel embarrassed or they don't want to share because I feel like they do themselves a disservice to suffer in silence and you don't have to like you were
Hmm.
saying, Dr. Rhonda, you have their support, you have a support group and
Hmm.
it makes it easier for people to like to hear other people's story and know
Right.
that they're not alone. You know what I mean? So when
Hmm.
people want to just be alone, don't say nothing to family members and just suffer in silence, I really don't understand. I would love to understand that thought process.
Right.
But
Hmm.
I guess because I'm not like that, it just makes it a little more difficult to understand. But I would love to understand, like to have a conversation with someone to understand
Right.
that. Mhm.
Hmm. We
Well,
have
I
quite a few supporters. I'm sorry,
no, no,
real
go ahead,
quick.
Dr. Rhonda.
We have quite a few supporters in our group because they have had family members that passed away, and they join our group and say, "We wish our family member had this group or had this type of support."
Yeah,
So, on behalf of their loved ones who passed away, they come and support us, volunteer, do whatever they can, saying that they wish that their family member had this type of support. So they support us.
yeah. I've had people that reach out to me like on an individual basis where they had a daughter, a niece, or a cousin or something like that
Mhm.
that they would like me to speak to or talk to
Oh, right.
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so
Mhm.
I get that a lot. But I don't have a whole group, but I do reach. Occasionally someone will reach
Reach
out and
out to
ask me
you.
to speak to their relatives, so I'm always happy to do that.
That's great.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And having a support group, a lot of times it's like a revolving door. I have quite a few, I would say we have a solid 30 or 40 that remain. But a lot of times people get well and they go their separate ways. And I
Yeah.
just tell people, I'm like, hey, even on our support group page, I came on there the other day and said, hey, who's on here? Are y'all seeing my post? Chime in. If you can't volunteer all the time, just chime in on a comment or something to help somebody else. Don't get well and forget to look back.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And so many
Wow.
people, once they're well, they're like, deuces. And
Yeah.
then some people have had to come back. Some people
Right.
it's
Right.
returned and then they reappear and it's like, hey. And I'm like, hmm. Every 6 months you could have just popped up and said, hello, does anybody need a gift
Right.
card for gas or
Hmm.
or, or need me to pay for their lift ride to chemo?
Mm.
Just give back. I said, once God has brought you through it and you're clear from the fire, don't forget to reach back and just help somebody else.
Out of the fire.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question in a comment from Stephanie Jackson, and I want to lift that. She said, I was just going to ask to talk about the trip. I don't know if it's just triple A or how do you guys say
The triple
negative?
negative.
Yeah.
Triple negative. Hmm.
Well, okay. Negative or positive.
Yeah,
So,
so I was a
So
triple negative. I don't know. You was as well, Doctor.
no, I
Um,
was her too positive.
oh, you were hurt too. So, not to go into a long explanation, but a triple negative means that my receptors aren't responsive to specific things, right? And so the HER2 is something that, so as a triple negative, I don't have to continue with any medications. Like I'm currently on no medications for any post cancer or anything, but that's because of the triple negative diagnosis. I believe people with HER2, that's a type of receptor as well that can show up in different parts of the body, if I'm not mistaken. And then,
Mhm.
so it could, cancer can show up, if you will, based on those receptor types. Um, so that's my story as far as that. So I don't have to be on anything. As a matter of fact, when I was doing radiation, I remember the doctor having to tell me to hold off for like a month because he wanted to look into the literature because he didn't know definitively if a person with that was diagnosed as a triple negative even needed radiation.
mm,
There just wasn't nothing in the literature at the time that said yes or no definitively. So he kind of erred on the side of caution, and we just did it. But it was something that it really wasn't known what to do with a person with a triple negative diagnosis as far as radiation was concerned.
okay.
Well,
Hmm.
I
I'm, yeah,
will
I'm
say
learning.
from what I do know about triple negative, it is one of the more aggressive ones.
Absolutely.
And with that one, they don't have a 5-year pill. For
No.
mine, we had, like for me, I had to do 6 aggressive rounds of chemo. Then I had to do a year of Herceptin. And
Mhm.
then I had to also do a 5-year pill.
Yeah. No.
But
I
with
just did the
triple
chemo.
negative,
Yeah.
ma'am, huh?
Oh, I was saying, yeah, I did the I don't know the name of the chemo medication, but we call it the Red Devil. And
Right.
yeah, it was
Adriamycin.
yes. I was like, I can't
Mhm.
remember, but I call it the Red Devil because that
Right,
thing.
but you know what? We changed the name to the blood of Jesus.
Oh, okay.
That's right, honey. Because we have triple negative people living life to their fullest.
Yeah, and that would be me. But at
That's
the
right.
time, it felt like the devil. Didn't feel like the blood of
Right.
Jesus.
I've heard people say it. They're like, oh my God.
Yes, yes.
So
That's the
yeah.
kind that if it got outside of the blood vessel and into the tissue space, it could cause nerve damage. So if
Mm-hmm.
because I remember that's a kind they have to manually push. So I didn't have a port.
Okay.
So that was a little, I would be a little anxious each time I went because they literally would go into a vein each time.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
my doctor didn't want me to have a port if I didn't have to, because he said it introduced another aspect of possibly infection if it's not clean or other stuff. So that was just what he decided to do, or we decided to do. So each
Okay.
time I went for treatment, I had to get that medicine like manually pushed through
Oh.
and slowly. And so I remember the nurse telling me that if I felt any kind of burning sensation, to let her know immediately, because that meant that it was outside of the blood vessel and in the tissue space, and
Mm-hmm.
they stop immediately and try to find another vein. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why I was like, I mean, I hear you. That's a nice way of putting it, but I was
A
a
good answer
nervous
story.
person each time I went. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh my
So
god.
we have, yes, Tara says, is it necessary to continue to get mammograms?
No, that's a good question. I don't,
Yes.
because
If
there's
you
not.
have breast, if you
If you
have a
have
double
breasts, right?
mastectomy,
We got. I
you
mean, I
don't
got
have to.
breasts, but not the real ones. So
Right.
you don't necessarily have to. For me, I was happy to get the new breasts because I was like almost looked like a 12-year-old boy at the breast. So I was happy to get some girls. So, but once you have the fake breast, no, you don't have to get the mammograms.
That's a great question.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
Um, Tara also asked, what advice do you give others?
Get your
Um,
mammograms. Like
yeah.
that's for me. That's like the cherry on top, ultimate thing. Get your mammograms, early detection, exercise, eat right. You want to prevent things from like the other things, that diabetes, high blood pressure, those type of things. You don't want to fall into
Mhm.
that. So if by any chance you do get cancer, they don't have to treat you don't they don't have to make the plan around those other diseases. So
Mhm.
it's always good to stay healthy, exercise, eat right, and get your mammograms.
Okay. All right.
And I would say the same thing. I would echo her. Get your mammograms. Check your breast.
Yes.
Check your breast. And watch the products that you use,
Mm,
because that's one thing. After going through cancer, I changed
deodorant.
almost every product that I use because they couldn't tell me where it came from. So I changed my deodorant. So I only use aluminum free deodorants now.
Hmm.
My shampoos are paraben free. My laundry detergent, plant based. I use Melaleuca, and it's probably some more. I think first generation through Amazon is another one that's pretty good, plant based. But just pretty much watching what you're putting in your body.
Mm,
Sweets, 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 sweets. Back up off the sweets. That feeds cancer. And so just paying attention, being nutritious. And I actually recently I went to this vitamin lady store here in Atlanta, eating by my blood type.
Oh yes, I
So
heard of. I have that book.
yes. And so it's a lot of different things that for your blood type is not necessarily healthy for your blood type.
Yes.
So a few of my ladies, I actually went, and there's one lady who's been stage 4 for about 4 or 5 years. And she recently told me when I put the post on there, I went to the vitamin lady store. And I'm starting to eat by my blood type. She's like, "Oh yeah, I've been going there for a while." And I was like, "Why do you tell us?" This is something you need to share. Like if something is working for you, share it with other people. And so I'm not saying that it's going to work for everybody, but for me, it seems to be working. It
right.
seems to be working. So, I mean, do whatever you can to fight through this thing, okay?
You're right.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, Sharon said, Dr. Rhonda and Dr. Sandy, which medical department did you ladies get your BRCA test done?
I live in well, at the time I lived in Inglewood, but I went to Hackensack University Medical Center here in New Jersey. So I did the testing through them.
Well, I guess she's trying to ask, like, I guess what specific department in the
Oh,
hospital, or
your
did
breast
you?
specialist.
Yes,
Oh,
the right through the
Your
breast.
the
The
same place. Yeah, your breast doctor that does your mammograms normally.
mhm.
Yeah, that they're the ones that do that.
Yes, they schedule that.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
Thank
right. Mike said, God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Tara said, did either one of you consider the holistic group?
I that
Not
was
completely.
that was suggested to me by someone, but I said I this was not something I wanted to play Russian roulette with.
Right.
It was just too aggressive and too late of a stage for me to think about a holistic approach.
Mm-hmm.
That was a suggestion to me by a friend of mine, but that totally went out the window for me because I felt like it was too much of an urgency to try to play with holistic things that it may not they don't really have facts about it really working. So I'm not saying that's not a good approach, but it wasn't one for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I my mother was diagnosed and she she had a pacemaker, so she refused to do chemo initially. So she did the holistic approach for 6 months. And what it didn't shrink the tumor, but it did make her healthier. So when they finally realized that she definitely was gonna still have to have chemo, the doctor did say that she was at the healthiest she had ever been.
Mm,
So she did try it for 6 months and she still ended up having to do the chemo because the holistic way did not take it away completely. But it did make her healthier, but it didn't do anything to the lump.
mm, wow.
So I would say you can do that in addition to something else, but I personally would not just do that solely.
Okay.
I
All
agree.
right.
Hmm.
Well, ladies, I think that this has been an insightful conversation and a powerful conversation on this
Thank
evening.
you.
I say thank you to our
Definitely.
incredible guests for your courage, for your honesty, and for your strength. Your
You're
story
welcome.
reminds us that breast cancer is not just about survival. It's
That's
about
right.
thriving, it's about living and showing up with purpose, even in the face of fear. So, again, Dr. Sandy, Dr. Rhonda, on behalf of Mondays Beyond the Mic, we say thank you for sharing your stories and being unapologetically bold. You both are beautiful.
Thank
I know I saw Sandy with the bald head, so she was cute either way, you
you.
know. Um, and we just appreciate what you shared with us tonight to tell us to continue to get those mammograms and to continue to check ourselves to make sure
Yeah.
that we are doing what's best for us. So, on behalf of Mondays Beyond the Mic, Lady Dawn B, and our guests, we like to say thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All I do is try to construe